Eita desgrama, segura o carro de cachorrão, meu Deus. O cachorro tá prestes a descer o rio, meu pai. Descer aí já era. Segura. Vai dizer não.
Os caras zoados, velho. Os caras zoados pra lá, velho. Se bater onda, eu vou me jogar também. Vou querer saber de nada, vamos. Naquele pique, eu vou falar. Vai, seu puto, se joga.
Aqui agora aqui, ó, vamos mostrando.
Ah, você que escrocha de novo na boca. É do travesseiro. Vai fazer o quê?
Vamos. Onde?
Não sei, quer dar uma volta? Tá me filmando?
Não.
Para de me gravar. Para!
Quer?
Para! Que saco!
The discussion here is my girl graduated college. She's from Hosenia and she finally graduated from her university. She has a job already, but now she has the opportunity to make more money since she has a degree now. And most of the people that she works with, they don't have a degree. So she has more of an upper hand. But what I want to discuss about this video is everyone you might meet from Brazil that lives in the favela is not bad. They're not criminals. They're not prostitutes. And they do have standards. Now, if you want to compare a favela to, per se, if you live in the U.S. or another place, and they call them housing projects or whatever you may call them, depending where you live at in the world, in my opinion, I don't think it's no comparison. I can't really compare a favela to in the U.S. to what I would call project housing. One reason is in the favela it's more of a community versus in the U.S. it's not. What I mean by that is living in a favela, which I have my first beginnings coming to Brazil. I stayed in a favela on the west side of Brazil for about, I think, my first 4 years of visiting here. Going back to what I was saying, it's no comparison because it's more of a family knit community vibe once you go to favela versus when you go to a project. It's more like on an individual basis, meaning that if people don't know you, they kind of finicky to, talk to you or, whatever. Versus here in Brazil, living in a favela, say if I wanted to borrow some sugar, borrow some eggs, or use their washing machine because I don't have one, it's more welcoming. So it is a difference. And the violence in a favela, I'm not going to say it isn't because it does exist depending on what favela you go to. So for first timers coming here, you got to be aware that you can't just meet somebody and they invite you to the favela and you just go there because you don't know what's going on. Their ex-boyfriend or ex-husband might live there. They might have some kind of beef or something with somebody else. So you coming into that situation not knowing Portuguese could equal all bad for you. But be very cautious and wary if you're doing that. How I met her online. We talked about a good maybe 6 months. I came here to Rio. We met and everything was cool. And then she invited me to come to Hosenia, which I already have been. But she lives a little bit higher than I went before because, as you may know, when you go to Hosenia, even if you go by yourself or on tour, they never take you all the way to the top. All the way, I mean, to the top, but inside. You know, because there's some places in Hosea that's not really meant for touring or for outsiders unless you live there. But she took me there and everything was cool, and we've been vibing ever since. Now, my first time coming to a favela, I was kind of naive and stupid. I met a chick. My first time coming here was like 2008. She offered me a place to stay at her crib. I never had heard or seen a favela before. And I did it. And that was kind of stupid because I didn't know whether or not she had an ex that lived within her community, which she probably did. I didn't know whether or not she had been married. I didn't know whether or not she had any beefs with any prior dudes that she declined in dating. So I took that gamble. I wasn't even thinking about that then. I was just thinking about I can stay here for like nothing, no money, and I have her, you know. So I was thinking in the best of my own interest. When vice versa, she was doing the same for her. She was thinking, well, I got this American guy that probably no one ever seen. I can maybe show him off and, you know, whatever she was thinking at the time. But that was not a good move, but it worked out in both our favors. I had no problems. I met her family, other people in the community, and it was all good. But not to say if somebody else tried that, it will equal up to the same thing. You know, it might be all bad. You know, she might set him up and get robbed or, you know, whatever. You just don't want to take that chance. You know, gotta be very cautious and safe. But with my new girl, like I mentioned, she graduated from college. And, you know, we went out, we celebrated. So I just want to give you an insight that not everyone you meet from favela is considered like low standing or at the bottom of the totem pole. It's just that their circumstance is different from the rest of the Brazilian people. But there's a high percentage of people that live in favelas. So be aware of that. So when coming here, make sure you have a tour schedule or a tour guide that can show you deep inside the favela, or that can show you more of an insight that speaks the language and knows the lay of the land. Because most definitely, as a tourist or somebody that lives here, you don't, because I'm pretty sure you don't live in the favela. Therefore, it's not a good idea to go there unless you are on a tour or know someone that you trust that lives there. But majority of the favelas I visited here, I felt pretty safe, meaning that I didn't just wander around. I was with someone that showed me the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts. And one of my favorite favelas is Hosea, just solely based on I know a lot of people there, mainly females, because I've been coming here for such a long time. So I kind of know the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts. And one of the quick don'ts not only applies to Brazil, but any place you're going to that has some type of project, favela, bad areas, whatever you want to call it. Entering there not knowing the language, having a video camera or taking photos, you never know who's doing illegal activity. Therefore, they might not want to be on video or don't have an idea where you're from or think you're from the opposite favela that they have problems with. So don't do it unless you're on a tour. Peace. Mais uma hora cansa, quero uma via de fechar.